bother him too much. A lot of experience in this setting. But definitely, I think, for Ko Ping-yi to win that leg and get back on the table after a rough first match. Oh, no. What an awful couple kisses there on the cue ball. Hit him perfect, it looked like.
And start the clock, please.
And you know, Jeremy, we saw Lassen break well, as Shane Van Boening did, and still not have a productive break.
Yeah, he got an awful kiss at a crucial time, and then Loho Sum took full advantage. Our only heel-heel match, but I think huge for Ko Ping-yi after, you know, a struggle against his brother, obviously, for both players, but to get ball in hand here early, I think that's a pretty good sign for Ko Ping-yi. He started on the right track. There's his brother in the background.
Went down for breakfast this morning in a absolutely phenomenal hotel, and they were having breakfast together, so there's no lingering resentment from the result yesterday.
No, not at all, and those two are pretty inseparable. Just a little draw stroke here. And the one thing I noticed about Ko Ping-yi in his first match, and he's never been labeled a slow player by any means, I would say, and it seemed like he played at a faster pace than I was used to, and I thought maybe just playing his brother, maybe that had something to do with it. And sometimes players can worry about the clock and trying to get into position a little quick.
Well, the scratch obviously helped, but that was something we didn't see hardly anything at all, really, in the match against Ko Ping-chung from Ko Ping-yi. He wasn't clinical, but he was in the opening rack here. So already, David Alcaide finds himself trailing. Now, before the match, Michael Bridge caught up with him.
David, you love the World Pool Masters, a very special tournament for you.
Yeah, of course. Always is special Pool Master. All the Matchroom tournament is special, but when you want two-time World Pool Master near your city, it's more special.
And you're playing someone dangerous, a former world champion, but he made one or two mistakes yesterday.
Yes, I see, but I know every game is totally different. Every match is different. Maybe yesterday you missed 2 balls and today you play perfect, but we will see in my match what happens.
And it's such a great tournament, but a dangerous tournament, 1st to 7, winner breaks.
Yes, more when he played 1 round. It's my first round today. I hope I play so good. I have really good confidence in myself, but we will see what happens.
The interview there, overlooking the superb facilities here at the Europa Point Sports Complex. Out there on that pitch today, I'm sure there'll be a rugby match. I saw this morning a cricket match going on, all kinds of stuff, and right at the centre of attention is pool.
Well, there's a leak in the table here early on Saturday. They're pouring in on the break. And you got to love it. The guy's not backing off, right? They know there could be terrible kisses out there, but you got to appreciate the aggression. And it's going to pay off here in rack number 2. Now he's going to have to gain an angle to get across for the 6 off the 5. So speed control here is kind of important. Is that enough? Not a ton of angle there, Phil. And I was kind of curious his first shot. He had a chance to get above the 4, which I thought made it easier to control the speed cross for the 5. And now he's going to have to let the stroke out. probably a big draw stroke here with a little low left English. And this is where the 4-inch pocket really comes into play, when you have to add a little more speed than normal. You wouldn't say he got as much of it as he wanted, but still pretty good.
As soon as the balls came to rest off the break-off, you knew 5 to 6, and then potting 6 would be the key to the rack.
Well, it definitely looks like a different player than his opening match.
That is the 1,000th ball into the pocket at this tournament.
What's the second?
And there's 1,001, and Ko Ping-yi, after making that faltering, albeit winning start in the first round, looks like he's old self now. He leads David Alcaide 2-0. What a career for Ko Ping-yi. He comes from Chinese Taipei, which has produced so many wonderful players. His nickname is the Prince of Pool, and over the weekend here, he could well be crowned king. He's 17th in the 9-ball ranking. One of those players that everyone in the game knows is capable of winning any tournament he enters, Jeremy.
Absolutely, and he's, you know, from years ago, they used to say your prime in pool was maybe 27 to 40. I think that's changed a little bit with the players getting younger and the information age and everything, but he's still got plenty of great years left, even with so many accolades already. And the charisma he carries at the pool table just makes it super fun to watch.
And David Alcaide also has a great career CV, the Matador. 43 years of age now, so something of a veteran. He's 3rd in the 9-ball rankings. That's why he's seeded into the last 16 here. We've had 3 seeds play so far. Only one of them, Max Lechner, has prevailed.
That's right, and well, that just shows you how tough the field is, and it's going to continue that way. Look at them, they're flying in the hole today. And I'll tell you, it's when you make 3 on the break, it's hard not to come away with a shot. There's just not much congestion. And one thing about David, and we'll see when we get to see him back at the table, but he's a 3-year-old that most would say, or I know I would say, is still improving, so that's pretty scary. Big shot here, though. This type of shot that can be missed on the 4-inch pocket a lot more often than a ball down the rail, and really to keep the momentum. I like him taking that little extra time.
You were just talking about Alcaide there. I will say one thing that will be a slight correction. You said, when we see Alcaide back at the table. Maybe it should be, if we see Alcaide back at the table, the way Ko Ping-yi is broken off so far.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how great a shot maker Ko Ping-yi is, because he's got such a tidy cue ball, and he always looks effortless doing things, but if he's comfortable, and when he gets in line with the cue ball, he usually stays in line. Oh, nice touch there going by the 7. If he bumps that 7, the 9 comes in play, and maybe he doesn't have a pocket. Little off angle here. I think I draw the ball, maybe. I don't know. On your pool room table, I think you follow it, but I like him just drawing above the 8. Very hard not to get a good shot. Should draw past the 8. Little light, it looks like, maybe. He's okay.
Since David Alcaide scratched unluckily on the break-off in rack 1 after that lag, he's been warming his seat. Copigny is not ball in after ball, and his break-off in racks 2 and 3 has been nothing short of thunderous. One-sided so far, not for Alcaide. Copigny 3-0 in front. The tiny nation of Gibraltar, small in size, yet immense in attractiveness. It became, well, under British control in the early 18th century, thanks to the Treaty of Utrecht. And what a beautiful place it is. Great for pool. This is the 5th time the World Pool has been here. On 2 occasions, not in this particular stadium, but here in Gibraltar, David Alcaide has lifted the trophy. Right now, well, he's 3-0 down to Copigny. As they battle away for a quarter-final place.
Leading the match 3-0 and will break.
Well, he hasn't backed off in his first 2 breaks, and I don't see, his first 2 breaks, and I don't see him doing anything different here. Kind of interesting. He kind of drew the cue ball back to the top rail both of his first breaks, and I doubt that was any kind of like just by chance. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, a little more of a straight draw to the end rail. A little a la Efren Reyes from the 90s. He used to do that a ton. Nice. Got another great starter, obviously, in a very... Balls kind of connect here with the 2 near, the 3 near the 4, the 5 near the 6. So should extend his lead if he can maintain.
More road maps, Jeremy, than an intercontinental lorry driver.
That's right. Yeah, and that's, a big part of what this game is just grinding out these racks, staying consistent, getting ahead of yourself. I think he's starting to slow down his pace just a hair. I think he's starting to realize there's plenty of time on that clock. Really, when you get in the right kind of groove, you're really kind of striking the ball within a 3 or 4 second range just about every shot. I always found myself when I played with the clock somewhere around 13 seconds, really. A little awkward. May have to stun this by the 4 a little bit, and it's an important shot. That way he can get on the 5 easily. Wants that to bounce a touch. He's perfect. Absolutely perfect. He can be aggressive, drawing the ball back to the bottom rail. The angle on the 4 is just ideal. He'll want to use the bottom rail. That way he has a little reference, on speed control, bouncing. Oh, he got a little light. He may fall a little straight. Oh, nice shot, though.
Ko Pin-Yi, unrecognizable as the player who, even in victory, struggled yesterday.
May use 3 cushions here to fall on the 8. It's a lot easier to go with the way the cue ball wants to play on this slick table rather than trying to check it. And really, a world 9-ball champion, a world 10-ball champion, and a guy that really just has no weaknesses. So it's gotten a little awkwardly off angle. I'd take this in the side, I would think. Could draw this ball. A lot of guys like to draw this just because they get to cue it with a little more aggression.
Ko Pin-Yi wins the rack.
The beat goes on. Ko Pin-Yi playing some brilliant pool. David Alcaide's contribution to the match so far, well, lagging, breaking off in the opening, scratching, and then just being an onlooker as the racks tick by. When you think about Chinese Taipei's status within the world of pool, which is very lofty, it's hard to believe that they have not supplied a winner of the World Pool Masters. Maybe that will change this year. Spain have, though, thanks to David Alcaide in 2017 and 2019. Everyone remembers the 2019 success when he length of the table doubled the 9-ball to overcome Alexander Kazakis. I was just doing some research this morning. When he won the 2017 World Pool Masters, he beat in succession Ralph Souquet, Shane Van Boning, Albin Ouschen and Jason Shaw in consecutive matches. Now, what a quartet that is.
Yeah, and this match here early really exhibits how brutal our game can be. David's struck the cue ball twice. The lag, he nearly froze it to the top rail, hit it pretty much perfect, and hit the break shot perfect, and got 2 unlucky kisses and hasn't seen the table since. One thing about David, though, is
the 5th rack.
He's a professional you can learn from. He's going to stay focused and wait for his opportunity.
Look at that young man, loving it. And indeed, on the right-hand side as well, that young lady. It's great when you come to your first Q Sports event. Mine was the 1972 World Snooker Championship. And I've been watching it ever since.
Well, you were a young buck then, I'll tell you.
9.
Yeah, I was going to guess, but I figured I'd wait till we were off air, Phil. Well, here you go. I'll tell you what. This is getting painful for the Spaniard.
So, Jeremy, if you're on the receiving end like this, it must be horrible because you feel powerless. And I suppose it's better to lose a match like this than to lose one where you've made several mistakes and basically thrown it away.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to win them and lose them. I'm sure David would like to have an opportunity to make some noise in this match, but he's got to appreciate what Ko Ping-Yi's doing at the moment. And I do agree with you as far as, you know, you don't want to blow opportunities, but you certainly want to get some. And the funny thing, you've been around so much sports in your life, Phil, it's very rare you don't get another opportunity, so David's got to stay focused, keep an eye on that cue ball, that way he stays in tune with the table as best he can. Okay, big shot here, even though it looks like a cupcake, it's the type of shot you can't take your eye off of. 4-inch pockets. Boy, how much more confident does this young man look than he did in his first match?
Ko Ping-Yi wins the round.
This is simply sensational pool. Ko Ping-Yi just knocking ball after ball into the pocket and putting David Alcaide into deeper and deeper trouble. Already, we only just seemed to start a few moments ago. Already he's just 2 racks away from victory. Next up, it's Aloysius Yap against Mieszko Fortunski. Yap, the runner-up in the US Open last year in Atlantic City. And then the session concludes with Abdullah Al Yusuf from Kuwait up against the court jester of this sport, Japan's Naoki Oi, the 7th seed in this year's World Pool Masters.
That's what I love about today's game, so international, and there's really a storyline for every match.
Now then, here's Michael.
Thanks very much, Phil. Yeah, I've got Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz with me. What is happening out there for David?
This is an unbelievable match. Ko Ping-Yi is playing amazing. David get an unlucky break in the first one, and he has no chance.
This is the beauty and tough nature of this sport, isn't it? Staying sitting down, he must be so frustrated, David.
Yeah, especially in the first one, he has an unlucky break. If you break bad and scratch, okay, but he's very unlucky, and Ko Ping-Yi is playing amazing.
He certainly is. Let's get back to the game now.
Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz still involved in the tournament.
Ko Ping-Yi to break.
And firm friends with David Alcaide, hoping that his buddy gets at least one opportunity. It is not guaranteed.
No, and talked about it at the beginning of the tournament. I really like the chances of the players that aren't backing off on the break, kind of like Shane in that World Pool Championships. Uh-oh. Well, he's going to dodge the scratch, I think. No open shot, though, but a pretty routine safety, so. This is interesting how he plays this. There's a couple different safety options here. He can use the 3. He can barely nip the 2 and go into the 3 with the cue ball. That's the shot I like, actually, versus stunning forward onto the 5. The thing he's going to make sure if he plays the 2 past the 5 down tables, don't cut it and accidentally pocket the 8. But I like just nipping the 2 myself and going into the 3 with the cue ball. I think it's a pretty easy shot. kept it pretty simple, and nothing wrong with that.
He's been sitting down for almost 5 racks, and now he gets back to the table and finds himself in a major hook.
Extension, please.
Well, he's pulling out the jump cue. Not only is the kick a little bit cut off, but that 4 ball that's hanging is going to try and come off the right side of the 2 and create some offense. Trying to pocket the 4. Good thing for David, it lays pretty nice to do so, even though he's got to go over the ball early and quickly, that being the 5.
He needed some inspiration, and that was it.
Boy, like again, he's had 3 strokes on the cue ball, and all 3 have been perfect, and he finds himself down 5-0. So he's got to just keep doing what he's doing. It's not the David Alcaide we're used to seeing. We all have misses, but that one was by some margin. Difficult shot here. He's got to put a little speed. Seen how brutal the side pockets have been.
Extension called.
Not sure he can get by the 7 ball here with the cue ball near the rail. Oh, he got by it easily.
And as we know, Jeremy, with these centre pockets, that was a much better pot than it might have appeared.
Yeah, they've really given no room for error all week. You catch any of the rubber going in, you're probably back to your chair. Well, a little straight here, no problem. He'll just kind of pinch the cue ball back. May cheat the pocket a hair. He's going to be cueing a little oddly. Oh, okay, it's slowed down. Thought he was going to get over the 9. A little bit over the 9.
Yeah, with that restricted bridging. Not a gimme, I was going to say, not a gimme.
Kind of 2-stroked it, though. I mean, or even 1-stroked it, really. It didn't really stay down on the ball as long, and sometimes you'll do that cueing kind of oddly.
What a lifeline this would be for David Alcaide. You can see there the nerves manifesting themselves in the fact he's shaking.
David Alcaide.
Maybe though now we're going to see a period of David Alcaide domination. It looked like 6-0 to Copigny. In fact, it is 5-1 for the Spaniard. Hope springs eternal. pool attracts spectators and players of all ages.
Trailing by 5 strokes to 1.
Take, for instance, David Alcaide, who started playing this game 38 years ago at the age of 5. Could hardly reach the table back then. Now he's looking to reach the quarterfinals.
Okay, the one's going to develop into a shot. It's a long one. So definitely a tester. He's got to put a nice draw stroke here to get position on the 2. 2 is over the side, but he's crashing into the 9 a little bit here with the cue ball. So I don't know if he, from this distance, it's not the type of shot you want to roll your ball, right? So you want to put some aggression into the stroke. May catch a piece of the 9, but that's okay.
I think it's worth explaining the format here, the fact that there's a shot clock involved. It's a 30-second shot clock, which is not too restrictive, and in each rack a player has one 30-second extension which he can nominate. That's for times when he's not quite sure of which shot to play, or the shot is particularly complex.
Yeah, he's fallen a little straight here, and that's not that big a deal as far as the 6 ball is concerned. But where it really becomes an issue here is getting the prime position on the 7 to get all the way back for the 8. That's where the complication starts with position here on the 3. So like right here, for instance, he can come back and get on the 7, of course, but maybe not as close to the 7 or as premium on the angle. Pretty confident stroke there, and he got the most out of it, Phil.
The one thing we know about David Alcaide through his individual and even Mosconi Cup exploits, he's a fighter.
Extension, please.
So there's the extension I was telling you about. This is one where he just needs that additional composure time.
Wow, did this ball get like, you could hear, you don't hear much from David a lot of times. Whether if he has a hair of an angle, he can cheat it and maybe get the cue, but it's not going to get real close to this 9 ball.
Under pressure, 5-1 down, 4-inch pockets. This can go astray. But David Alcaide equal to the task. The comeback gathers a certain degree of momentum. He was 5-0 down, remember? Now, though, it is only 5-2. And talking of 4-inch pockets, here's Carl Boyce.
At this year's World Pool Masters, we are seeing a lot of balls missed by the greatest pool players in the world. You've heard me saying, Combs, it's a 4-inch pocket. Why is that so important? Because any little bit of unwanted spin on the cue ball is going to cause a mistake, or if your position is not quite on song, you're going to miss balls. Come and look at the 4-inch pocket.
Yeah, we were talking earlier on about the fact we've had over 1,000 balls spotted now, Jeremy, and I think it's important to note we've had nearly 100 balls missed.
Yeah, the 4-inch pockets, of course, the moment has a lot to do with that at times, but, the table is slick, so you can get out of line easily. You underhit something, you overhit something, doesn't take much, and then the 4-inch pockets will make you regret pretty quickly.
To put a precise number on it, 91 balls have been missed, including 17 in one match. Loho Sum against Dennis Grabber
trailing 5-2
in round one. Not many misses in this one, though. Good quality pool. Lots of break and run-outs. Can David Alcaide pull off another?
Well, not backing off again on the break. And got come over the one a little bit across it, so a lot of times that leans towards that side pocket scratch. He did dodge that, but not the greatest of looks on the one. And the problem with this one ball is, of course, the bank's there. It's not easy, not really any cover if you play the bank. But when you're a little above it like this, it's very difficult to play the cue ball safe as well, because you can't really get into a lot of speed on the cue ball, and you're on the rail with the. I think he may go for this bank. It's hit a little heavy. I'm not sure what I do here. This is a little bit funny. Is he coming all the way back down behind the 6 maybe? Is he playing just the 1 above the 8, trying to use the 7? Oh, he's coming all the way back down. It looks like he's hit it beautifully. Well, get you some of that.
On a dime. What a shot that was.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he can play a kick shot here, and David's very good at kicking at the ball.
Extension call.
Spanish players a lot of times have a lot of experience with 3 cushion billiards, so they really know the routes to try and get at these kick shots. But this is one you're not going to practice very often. Coming 2 rails just past the 2. I love the 8 to the 3rd rail and trying to come at the 1. This is difficult.
Control stroke.
I caught the 9. If the 9 catches the 1, we may see an early combo, and that's what we're going to have to put Ko Ping Yi on the hill.
Start the clock, please.
That's what I love about you, Jeremy, former US Open champion. Even with the balls in motion, you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, a little instinct, I guess, maybe, but and maybe because it's all happened to me, Phil.
So the 1-9 combination is in, and Ko Ping Yi very swiftly arrives at the hill. Yeah, that was a turn of events that all began with Ko Ping Yi's simply sparkling difference, and when he left this combination, that was that. There's no way he was going to misjudge that 1-9 all is fine shot. Ko Ping Yi was unimpressive in the first round against his younger brother Ko Ping Chung. Today he's been mightily impressive, apart from the missed 7 ball when he had slightly restricted cueing, leading by 5 racks to 0. And what's more, when you arrive at the hill in this format, then you get to break off, and that's the real big concern for David Alcaide. If he wants to complete a hat-trick of World Pool Masters titles,
Ko Ping Yi is breaking on the
he will
hill,
have to
leading
pull
by
off
6
a remarkable recovery.
One positive for David, this will be the last time he sees Ko break the balls in this match, but Ko Ping Yi wants to end it here. Doesn't want it to go any further. Last time he almost scratched, so he's got to make sure that doesn't happen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Exactly the other side of the table, and exactly what David Alcaide needed.
Start the clock, please.
And you can see there the cue went a little left through impact, so that usually makes the cue ball go a little to the right, and caught the one a little on the top side. Okay, prime position here to just screw the cue ball back a little bit. Again, it looks like he's perfect, just to pinch the cue ball back for a nice angle on the 4 to easily get on the 5. Make a decision if he wants to go between the 6-9 or just stop the cue ball here and run the cue ball off the 5 around the 9 to get on the 6. I think that's the choice.
Alcaide clinging on. And it's amazing what a break-off can do. He knows that from bitter personal experience in this match. Remember, he scratched in rack 1 and pretty soon found himself 5-0 adrift. If Alcaide could finish the way that Copigny started, he could still pull this one out of the fire.
David Alcaide wins the match.
Copigny will have to wait. This is Gibraltar, crammed full of history, crammed full of simply stunning views across the Mediterranean and the Straits of Gibraltar. You can even see Morocco and North Africa in the distance. It really is a beautiful place to be, whether it's outdoors, indoors, watching the World Pool Masters. One thing we love in pool is a good old comeback, and maybe we're going to see one from David Alcaide here. Remember, he was 5-0 down at his lowest ebb.
Thank you, rack number 10.
Now they're 6-3 and breaking off.
6-3.
This is doable.
Watch out, cue ball. Looks like it's going to be clear. 7 ball. It's okay. He's got a nice shot on the 1. Is he over the 7 a bit, Phil? That makes this shot more difficult if he's over the 7. I can't quite tell. Yeah, he's all right. Easy position shot, it looks like. He may have to elevate a hair and stun this between the 3-5, though. Makes the pocket a bit smaller. Yeah. Just got a little quick with the backswing there and didn't quite get the release of the cue like he expected.
One of the great shots pulled off by Loho Sum last night in beating Shane Van Boning was a 1-ball. He thundered into that same pot. Alcaide not quite so accurate. And of course, by the way, Alcaide and Loho Sum are attached in many respects because it was Loho Sum who beat Alcaide in the World 9-Ball Chip this year, preventing Alcaide reaching the last 64.
Well, you got to be impressed with Loho Sum, though. I mean, after having a shaky match against Dennis Grabe, just like the Whirlpool Masters, really, he settled in and he played one heck of a match against Shane last night, breaking and running 3 racks, I believe, and pretty much exactly what he needed to do to beat the reigning Whirlpool champion. But we know what this looks like for our reigning Whirlpool, two-time Whirlpool Masters champion. Kazakis is our reigning champion. This looks pretty natural. 3 rails around the purple.
Yeah, the only thing raining now for David Alcaide, Copigny, is raining on his parade.
Yeah, and you can tell it won't be anything about missing a ball, so it's all about the cue ball from here on out to see Copigny advance to the quarterfinals.
And worth noting, if he does so, Jeremy, he will be the 3rd player from Asia to do so. Get to those quarterfinals after Loho Sum and Dennis Okoye.
That's right. And you could say, you know, in this match, a little unlucky, that first inning break. It was so penal after that cue ball got kissed a couple of times. But David's going to tell you, because he is the professional, that even at 6-3, he had a chance there to make that comeback. He just let that 1 ball slip